So I have wanted to review more things because I absolutely love the analyzed story and character writing, and my plan was to review the comic series More Than Meets the Eye and a sequel Lost Light, to explain why you see people who adore the first series but slam the second one. However, someone requested I go ahead and review Cyberverse early, and now is a good time to do it since I just finished rewatching the whole thing from start to finish. Now Cyberverse is still going to release 2 movies, so all I am focusing on today is season 1 to 3. So this review is not going to spoil things in the show, and I hope you actually do go watch it yourself, with a link to it in the description. As an overview, I do like this show. Transformers fans should not skip it because it has a lot of fresh ideas and new characters appearing on screen. The humor they started doing later, especially in season 3, was exactly the dumb kind that makes me laugh, and I want to trim some clips and show them off. Season 3 is easily the best, and part of it blew me away. However, I have 2 main critiques against the show: its shallowness and its wobbliness with its maturity level. I'll go into details soon, but Cyberverse always left you feeling deprived of more depth with its characters and plot, and the show also struggled to set a tone. This resulted in me not liking its beginning at all, and then coming back later and being impressed. So there are a ton of good things to say, and I'm fond of most things in the show. Cyberverse is super creative and fun. You can put it on and just watch it without taking it seriously. The characters are so zany, and it's the only show where I preferred the Autobots over the Decepticons because they were just that fun. Like, Wheeljack was awesome, best Wheeljack I've ever seen so far. I loved everything about him and his relationship with Shockwave, and a really great episode is Wheeljack's shenanigans after being captured by Shockwave.
Do not touch.
Oh, you evil genius! Using a force field for a heat sink? Fantastic!
Cyberverse also has my favorite Grimlock now. He's uncontrollable in Dino mode, but super contained and civilized in bot mode. It was so funny to listen to how he spoke, how he'd throw soirees, and get embarrassed about his behavior in Dino mode.
But I need it! This is my traditional after-battle soiree! I cannot be the charming and gracious host and serve the Energon at the same time. That would be absurd.
His friendship with RC was also great, and the episode focusing on them was one of my favorites because it was so funny. RC was really hilarious and energetic, so possibly my favorite RC as well. I also thought Rack and Ruin were amazing, and the writers made them say some awesome jokes.
Ratchet and Jetfire are in there. Time to pay Ratchet a house call, 'cause he's a doctor.
But nothing can even compare to how much Dead End and Meteor Fire made me laugh. So Dead End is pessimistic and hates being anywhere. I loved him instantly because he says the sassiest things in the most unimpressed voice. Someone actually made a compilation of Dead End, and you just have to watch it.
Something's wrong with him.
You mean more than normal?
What do we do if Soundwave wakes up?
Nobody wants that.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Are you saying we should deactivate him?
I didn't say that. You said that. But your idea is good.
Meteor Fire as a concept absolutely killed me. They made a Cybertronian with an Australian accent, but why not? Like, why do we think it's normal for Cybertronians to have only American accents? But the thing is, Cyberverse freaking made Meteor Fire to be Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, like as a freaking robot.
They've all got their personalities. Some hit hard, like a ton of bricks, and some are a little more placid. Boys versus girls. You never know what the temperament of a croc's gonna be like.
The best way to get to know any alien species is to meet their leader. And look, there she is. What do you think, Cosmos? This and more on another thrilling episode of Alien Hunt with Meteor Fire
and Cosmos.
Still talking about characters, Cyberverse did really well in using new characters. It was a great choice when they pushed aside now mainstream characters like Bumblebee, Windblade, Optimus, Megatron. Season 3's fresh new take let others take the spotlight. Hot Rod, Clobber, Dead End, Soundwave, Perceptor, and Whirl were some of the leads. It was so much more creative to do that and abandon the mains for that story arc instead of seeing the same bots be the heroes. They even tried to get Windblade, but couldn't. Cyberverse had its IDW characters and references. They snuck in the Tarn design, they had Deadlock and Whirl, but Whirl was so much different from the hilariously sassy and cynical bot in the comics. I didn't actually mind the change, although I like how he was written in IDW. In Cyberverse, Whirl was optimistic and hyper, very cute. Cyberverse always impressed me when they pulled out characters you didn't see often and put them on screen for people to enjoy more than before. We had Bludgeon and Slipstream, for example. Astro Train was there too, and it was really cool that to explain his ability to carry out the Transformers, he was just a really big robot. But he was intelligent and liked to pick on Dead End. Astro Train on screen made me happy. And then there was a hilarious rivalry between Jetfire and Skybite. Like, Skybite's voice alone just... oh god, I love Skybite too.
Jetfire! Yes! Where are you concealing him?
Jetfire is no more.
Lies! Only I can destroy him.
But I'm not going to forget Wild Wheel, because it was another of those outrageously funny episodes where he appeared. So what is special about Cyberverse is that it shows off more Cybertronian locations, culture, and animals than preceding shows usually did. They start rebuilding Cybertron, and they show Cybertron in the past. They explore different regions of Cybertron, even the moons. Like, no other show focused that much on showing these different places. I was actually taking so many screenshots as references because of the city layouts, the buildings, even the bars and cards, and there was so much thought put into presenting Cybertronian culture beyond the war. And you know what is amazing about Cyberverse? The fact that they outed Cybertronians to humans without hesitation. There was no, oh no, humans can't handle the concept of aliens. Cyberverse decided to make humans meme the hell out of the robots in the perfect representation of how the internet would actually react to aliens. They never once had human characters in Cyberverse, but they didn't skip over humans reacting to them. Both Autobots and Decepticons broadcasted videos to get human support, and so there were humans simping for Starscream in the bloody show itself. And so, for Wild Wheel, he was a Cybertronian who woke up in the Wild West, and instead of humans freaking out, they literally just accepted him, and it's brilliant, it's just brilliant.
I didn't want to, but I became an outlaw. I did what I had to do to survive.
Now I'm always eager to see new Transformers shows. Sometimes the first episode blows me away, but other times my smile slowly fades. Cyberverse was one of those shows I started watching the moment it came out, and I was disappointed. It was honestly just the maturity level and writing that drove me away, because I actually watched Season 1 as it got released, made myself watch Season 2 at a later time, and then I stopped until some people started insisting I watch Season 3 because it got really good. So I did jump into Season 3, and there was a Quintesson invasion story arc that was completely different from the rest of the show. I was so surprised and hooked that I binge-watched the story arc on a treadmill without stopping. My mind was blown, and it was one of the best stories I'd ever seen in any Transformers show. It was creepy as hell and right up my alley. So when I talk about maturity, I'm never complaining about kids shows, and I fully believe that kids shows can include dark themes. When I was 9, I was addicted to cartoons with wars and character deaths, because kids can find those things cool, like Redwall for me or Watership Down. Kids shows can also be nice for adults to watch when they're innocent and calming. Rescue Bots Academy is for very young kids. The robots act like kids, but they are learning things and being cute, so it isn't cringy to me. Cyberverse was cringy to me, and because of Season 1, I don't feel comfortable showing it to other people, and I wouldn't dare show it to a non-Transformers fan personally just because of a few things. Number one reason was definitely Bumblebee. He was wild and annoying to me, and the jokes weren't really jokes, but Bumblebee saying things through clips like he did in Bayverse. These lines are hilarious to children because children are natural mimics. They'll want to hear Bumblebee and repeat those lines themselves. So adults can't really get into the show like they could with Rescue Bots and Rescue Bots Academy, because Season 1 was mostly shallow except when they got to the flashbacks, and finally when Bumblebee was behaving with intelligence.
Do you remember anything? How to do donuts, and over 50 different recipes for your microwave oven.
B, stop doing donuts.
You never should have gone to that party with Brenda.
This birthday cake, it tastes like chicken.
Welcome to my laboratory. Are you admiring my work? And look at you, you're blue. I don't have a blue one. What is this? When a judge finds a universe guilty, I like to keep a little souvenir for myself. And you are it.
Most of Season 1 was frustrating with Bumblebee being an idiot, although that is some people's humor, it definitely is not for others. And then we have Mary Sue Windblade. I've actually grown unhappy with Windblade nowadays because of the way she keeps being written. Consider Robots in Disguise 2015, Cyberverse, the Prime Wars trilogy, and even IDW, where Windblade has all these powers, and in the shows I just mentioned, Windblade is an incredible fighter. In Cyberverse, she was just ridiculously good at fighting, and you don't want to see that, because it just makes everyone else look pathetic. Cyberverse made the Seekers more useless than Transformers Prime Vehicons. They even did Starscream dirty by making everyone just keep going down to Windblade. Cyberverse did better when they gave her a challenge with Bludgeon, but see, when it comes to Windblade and Transformers writing, she always comes in with all these skills and little room to grow. IDW did the best job of her, but she never really did have flaws. She was always in the right, always presented as a talented model character across all representations.
Timing is everything. Right, Starscream? Back off, Thundercracker! Go! Complete the mission! Want me to call him for you? I'm not sure he's got the time to deal with some low-level Decepticon seekers, but maybe for you he'll make an exception. What was your name again?
Optimus and Megatron didn't really do anything either and were boring. Characters are rarely developed, such as Deadlock and Starscream, so this is why the show feels so shallow. When you watch Cyberverse, you get so interested in the characters they are showing you, but they never give you much information about them, nothing dramatic either, so no very deep character developments compared to other shows. Trust me, you'll want so badly to hook your fingers into something, but you just can't throughout the show. Just when something interesting arises, they move on. You never really get why the Autobots and Decepticons have been fighting, and it barely seems like this is a real war because no one seems to be taking things seriously. Nothing gets done, characters bumble around, no one shows that there has been fighting and death, and Windblade's reaction to death in this show would honestly seem like the first time any of them had ever lost someone before. For a story telling us that two sides have been at war, there is a huge lack of emotion. What do they even hate each other for? What battles have there been? You just don't get lore that would have given the show some meat. Because of that, it's impossible for me to get obsessed with the show, and all I can do is laugh at it and know when it gets creative. A kid's show can be very well written. It could have given its characters more care, but it felt like they just made one concept for a character, and that personality was all you were ever going to see. It was just fortunate that when they created an idea for a character, it was usually so likable that you could watch them without a problem. So overall, I think Cyberverse is humorous, and beyond Season 1, it gets better and better, so I have high hopes for the upcoming movies. It doesn't commit any massive writing or plot issues like Netflix's series, and it won't grate you like Robots in Disguise 2015. Because of that, Cyberverse is up there in the shows I enjoy the most, but those are my warnings and critiques about it. Hopefully, other shows and comics will reuse some of Cyberverse's creative ideas.
Welcome to Luna 3, Cybertron's smallest moon. Not much is known about this forbidden planetoid, but it might be home to some of the universe's strangest aliens.
I love this show.